I'm cold. It's not the weather. It's fear. It feels like my body is slowly shutting down. First the feet, then the legs, the hands, everything starts to tingle. My head is light and heavy at the same time. My mouth is dry. My tongue feels like an old rag. My vision is blurry, like someone smeared grease over the window to my soul. And the worst part is knowing what's happening. It's the glucose. It's crashing. I've felt this before. I've had hypoglycemia other times. But never this strong. Never like this. Carlos, my voice falters. Carlos, son. Silence. I try to get up from the couch, but my legs don't respond. I slump, leaning against the armrest. A drop of cold sweat rolls between my breasts. My fingers tremble. I try to reach the phone, but it's far, on top of the cabinet. I almost fall trying to stand. Carlos. The music in his room is blasting. Some cursed rap, one curse word after another. The beat is louder than my voice. Or maybe he just doesn't want to hear. I asked. I begged. This morning, with the sweetest voice I could find, I said, "Son, I'm running out of insulin. There's only one dose left, and I think it's already expired. Can you stop by the pharmacy?" He mumbled a yes, without taking his eyes off the phone. Without looking at me. Without caring. He promised. Promised he would. But he didn't go. And now I'm here, heart racing and body limp, alone, feeling like I could die at any moment. I crawl to the kitchen, literally dragging myself. The floor is cold. Every movement hurts. My head spins. I open the fridge with the last bit of strength I have. My hand shakes. There it is, the syringe. The blessed syringe. The last one. With the leftover expired insulin I haven't had the courage to throw away. I look at the vial. The expiration date passed months ago. But I have no choice. It's this or blackout. Or worse. I inject it with difficulty. I don't even have alcohol to clean the area. I stab the needle into my belly with a dull pain. The liquid goes in slowly, almost nothing. But it goes in. I stay there, collapsed on the floor, breathing heavily, hoping that the poison-turned salvation has some effect. I close my eyes. I remember little Carlos, running through the house, calling me dear mommy. I remember the days I gave him my last spoonful of food, even when I was hungry. The sleepless nights, checking his fever, singing lullabies in the dark. And now I'm just a burden. Minutes pass. Or is it hours? Time becomes elastic when you're on the edge. Slowly, the dizziness fades. My vision returns, shaky. The sweat still drips, but less. My heart slows down. I survived. I get up slowly. I lean on the table. I go back to the couch. In the next room, the music is still blasting. The bastard didn't even come out to check. Didn't ask. Didn't see the danger. But I saw it. I felt it. In that moment, collapsed on the kitchen floor, something inside me collapsed too. It was the last drop. Not of insulin. Of love. Of patience. Of hope. And when that drop fell, something inside me changed. I woke up with the taste of blood in my mouth. I think I bit my tongue. Or maybe the desperation from last night tore a piece of me from the inside. I don't know. But I woke up alive. That much I know. Waking up felt like crawling out of a shallow grave. My whole body ached. My head throbbed, but my heart was beating. Slowly, tiredly, but it was beating. Carlos wasn't home. I only noticed because the house was silent. No rap blasting, no sound of bottles hitting the table. No trace of him. Not even a note. Not even a "you feeling better, Mom?" Nothing. I went to the bathroom mirror. The face staring back looked like another woman. Deep circles under the eyes, cracked lips, a gray pallor that didn't even seem human. But the eyes were darker. Stronger. There was something different in them. Something I couldn't name yet. But I could feel it. I wiped my face, sipped some water slowly. Made coffee. No sugar, of course. Just a little of the powder that was left. The smell filled the kitchen, and for a moment, I almost fooled myself. Almost believed it was a normal day. Almost. Until I looked at the table. Empty. Where my insulin should be, there was only the old, empty vial with a yellowed label from age. Expired. I remembered last night, dragging myself across the floor, cold sweat pouring, screaming for help. And him, Carlos, locked in his room, headphones in, beer in hand. He promised he would get it. He said, "Relax, Mom, I got this."
Yeah, he got it all right.
He got me close to death. I grabbed the broom and started sweeping the house. It's what I always did when my head was full. Sweep. But there was no dirt on the floor. The dirt was something else now. The dirt wore expensive sneakers, fake designer shirts, and had a brand new phone I didn't buy. The dirt bet on gambling sites, drank until he blacked out, and came back vomiting at my doorstep. The dirt had been born from me, and now lived with me. He showed up around noon, wearing a crooked cap, red eyes, and holding a little bag of chips. "What's up, Mom? All good? All good?" I wanted to throw that bag in his face and scream. "Yesterday, I almost died, you useless bastard." But I didn't. I didn't scream. Didn't even get up from the chair. I looked him in the eyes and answered, "All good, Carlos." "Huh? I thought you were sick yesterday," he said, half laughing. "You were yelling like crazy. It was just a spell." "Yeah, you're getting old, huh?" he said, already heading to his room. Getting old. He has no idea that last night I was reborn. Not old. Clear-headed. When the door slammed, I took a deep breath. Smelled the cigarette he had hidden in his pocket. Felt the rage come like a wave. But I had learned by now, yelling at him doesn't work. Talking, arguing, threatening, nothing works. He only listens to his own wants. And in that silence, the thought hit me. He sold me out. It wasn't forgetfulness. It wasn't carelessness. It was a choice. He took the money I left on the kitchen table and used it. Not to buy insulin, but to buy something else. Or maybe he didn't even use the money. Maybe he sold the last vial. Or the vials he stole from somewhere. Then I remembered a phone conversation I had overheard a few days ago. "Just bring it, and I guarantee the cash. Expensive meds sell fast, bro." At the time, I thought he was just talking nonsense. Now, the pieces fit. Carlos wasn't just lazy. He was a criminal. I went back to the kitchen. Opened the drawer, where he usually hides what he doesn't want me to see. Among papers, cigarette packs, and a fake wallet, I found a small vial. Insulin. Sealed. Hospital label. Stamped. My blood ran cold. There, in my hand, was proof that he had access. To something illegal. To something that could kill me, by omission. I sat down. Looked at the vial. Remembered the feeling of dying slowly on the floor of my own house. In that moment, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I understood. I understood what I had to do. From that point on, my life would be about one thing only: surviving.
And getting even.
After what I found in that drawer, I stopped pretending. But he didn't. Carlos kept parading around the house, as if nothing had happened. As if he hadn't left me there to die. As if I were invisible. And in a way, I was.
To him. But I saw.
I saw everything. In the following days, I started watching carefully. Quietly. I learned that over the years, mothers who talk too much get ignored. Mothers who stay silent hear everything. I noticed his routine. Early in the morning, he'd rush out. He'd come back hours later with his backpack fuller than before. Never with grocery bags. Never with insulin. One day, he brushed past me in the hallway. His backpack hit my hip. It was heavy. "What are you carrying in there, son?" I asked, in that sweet voice I used when he was a child. He looked at me quickly. A glance that lasted half a second, but it said, "Don't get involved." I smiled. Pretended not to notice. But that day, I waited for him to leave. I went into his room slowly. He never locks it. Thinks no one would dare touch anything. I left everything as it was, but I scanned it with my eyes. Under the bed, in a torn cardboard box, I found packages. 10, maybe 12 insulin vials, stuffed between old toilet paper rolls and a moldy t-shirt. And it wasn't just insulin. I saw ampoules of other medications. Some I recognized from when I used to accompany my late husband to the hospital. Blood thinners, blood pressure meds, even some controlled substances. All stamped with the public health system seal. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just some unemployed guy trying to make ends meet. It was trafficking. Medicine trafficking. And he was doing it inside my house. With my money. With my life. That same day, when he came back, I pretended to be asleep. He passed by the couch, tossed his keys on the shelf, went straight to his room. I heard the sound of the backpack opening, vials clinking. Then, the usual silence. In the middle of the night, I got up without making a sound. I grabbed his phone. He had left it on the table. The password was still his birthday. As if I would know. I unlocked it.
And I shivered.
WhatsApp had a group called Parallel Pharmacy. There were 5 people. Carlos was the most active. The messages were blunt. New batch in. If you want insulin, message me by tomorrow. Got metformin, furosemide, all straight from the hospital. 0 risk. New clients pay up front. That's the rule. There were photos. Vials organized on a table. Some even had my kitchen towel in the background. They were using my house as a storage unit. And I, the fool, was the perfect distraction. The old lady no one suspects. I went back to the couch. My heart tight, but my face dry. I didn't cry. Not anymore. I looked at the picture of my husband on the shelf. He died from diabetes complications. Fought until the end. And now his son was using the same poison as currency. The next morning I made coffee. Carlos came out of his room like nothing had happened.
Didn't even look at me.
Sleep well, Mom? He asked casually, grabbing some bread.
I did.
I dreamed about your father. Yikes, must have been a nightmare then, he laughed. But I knew. The nightmare was him. I stayed quiet all day. But my mind was racing. I couldn't just throw him out. Carlos was the kind that would come back. Yelling. Breaking doors. He had already threatened me once, when I asked him to get a job. You want me gone? Then pray I don't come back, he said, eyes red from booze. But this wasn't just a mother-son problem anymore. It was a crime. A life-threatening crime. My life. That's when I remembered a name. Lemos. Retired police chief. Old friend of my husband. He saw me pregnant with Carlos. Held him as a baby. Maybe he could help me. I went to the old address book, the kind with a hard cover, full of dust and landline numbers. His number was still there. I called. Hello. Mr. Lemos? This is Lourdes. Lourdes Meneses. Mrs. Lourdes. My God, it's been ages. Everything okay? We need to talk. In person. But it has to be calmly. Did something happen? All I can say is this, Lemos. My son is no longer the boy you once knew. Silence on the other end. Then he said, give me the address. I'll be there first thing tomorrow. I hung up, looked at Carlos's bedroom door. Still closed. The music blaring again. He had no idea. I went back to the couch, like always. But something in me had changed. I was firmer. Sharper. Carlos thought he was fooling me. Thought I was just a dependent old lady. Weak, tired. But what he forgot is that a mother can be all of those things and still be dangerous. Because only someone who truly loves is capable of destroying in silence. I woke up before the sun came up. My body still ached from the night. I almost died. But my mind was steady. Cold.
Calm.
As if my soul had made a decision, and the rest of me was just following orders. Lemos was supposed to arrive around 8. He said he'd come without a uniform, without drawing attention. Just an old friend visiting a widowed lady. I made coffee early. Tidied up the kitchen. Put out the nice tablecloth, the one with embroidered flowers that I only use for church or visitors. Carlos was still asleep. Or pretending. In recent weeks, he'd started leaving earlier and coming back acting stranger each time. Restless, anxious, smelling like cigarettes and cheap cologne. But today he was still home. And that kept me on alert. I sat in the living room, facing the door, with a steady heartbeat, like someone waiting for a delivery man, not the police. But it wasn't just any police. It was Lemos. A man who knows right from wrong without needing a badge. The gate creaked at 7:58. I got up slowly and opened the door. There he was. Grayer than I remembered, hands in his pockets, a tired look. But steady. Always steady. "Mrs. Lord." "Come in, Lemos. The coffee's hot." He sat down. Drank his coffee without sugar, as always. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Not a word. Just the wall clock marking time with that annoying ticking sound. Until he finally spoke. "You can tell me everything." And I did. I told him everything. About the insulin I asked for and never got. About the fainting, the expired dose, the pain. About the heavy backpack, the vials with public health seals, the group on his phone. I showed him the photos I took secretly, the names I read on the bottles, the messages I memorized. Lemos listened with the patience of someone who's seen a lot of hidden pain behind clean house walls. When I finished, he took a deep breath. "Lord, you know what this means, right?" "I do. If this goes forward, he'll be arrested. Maybe for a long time." "I know." I looked him straight in the eye. "But at least he won't be the one to bury me." He nodded, took out his phone, and sent a quick message. "I've got 2 trusted colleagues still active. We can set something up quietly. No drama. I don't want any mess here. No noise. It'll be clean, Lord, but you'll have to help." "I will. Whatever it takes."
He explained the plan.
They would monitor Carlos for a few days. Follow him, take photos, confirm the deliveries. No immediate arrest. It had to be airtight before making a move. And if I agreed, we could even install a hidden recorder in his room. "Put it wherever you want. He'll never notice," I said. Lemos looked at me again, with a strange seriousness. "Lord, you're talking about putting your own son in jail." "I'm talking about saving myself, and stopping him from killing another mother out there." The silence that followed was heavier than any word. That afternoon, the 2 officers came, pretended to be Lemos' nephews, hugged me like old friends. They installed the microphone under Carlos's desk while I distracted him in the kitchen with small talk and cornmeal cake. Carlos suspected nothing. In the days that followed, everything looked the same on the outside. But inside, the house was no longer his. It was mine. And time I was using to let the net close in. Pretending became my specialty. I smiled at breakfast, hung laundry on the line, watched soap operas with him like everything was normal. But at night, I heard everything. Lemos came by every night with a flash drive. We listened together. My son's voice, laughing with his partners, negotiating coldly. "The old lady has no idea. She's sick, barely gets up. The house is mine now."
Or,
"The hospital batch was good. 2 nurses are already on my payroll. I pay, that's it." Each sentence was a slap in the face. But I didn't feel pain anymore. Only determination. One night, I heard him say, "I've got a plan to sell fake insulin. Mix it with saline and sell it to old folks in the countryside. No one will know." I paused the recording, looked at Lemos. "It's time. You ready?" "I was born ready, Lemos. I just needed the courage. Now I have it." Lemos gave a faint smile. A sad one. A respectful one. From someone who understands that sometimes justice has to come from within the house. In the following days, he alerted his colleagues. The operation would be silent, no sirens. When Carlos left for his next delivery, they'd follow him, catch him with the batch. There'd be no way out. All I had to do was keep everything the same, pretend a little longer, and then wait. Carlos looked happy.
And it disgusted me.
He cracked jokes at breakfast like he'd won the lottery, wore a new shirt, new sneakers, and had no idea that every step he took was already being watched. Every smile was recorded. Every word, another shovelful of dirt onto his own grave. That morning, he woke up earlier than usual. I woke up to the muffled sound of the closet opening, the backpack being filled. I got up silently, went to the kitchen and put water on to boil. Fresh coffee. Always fresh coffee. Not for him, for me. I needed something warm in my hands to mask the ice in my chest. Heading out, I asked when he showed up in the kitchen in a hurry. Real quick. Just a delivery.
Delivery.
He wasn't even hiding it anymore. I smiled. Take some bread, then. So you don't leave on an empty stomach. I handed him a bundle with cheese bread and some juice. And more than that, a mother's look of blessing. But inside, I was already saying goodbye. Not to the son. To the man he had become, and who now needed to be erased from my life. At 8:17 a.m., he left. Black backpack, low cap, earphones in. Lemos was already in position. 2 undercover agents were waiting 3 blocks away. They had audio, hidden cameras in the car, everything set to catch him red-handed. Carlos thought he was going to sell a few boxes of adulterated insulin to a new client. The client, of course, was one of the agents. The trap was set. And I, here on the couch, holding the cup with both hands, waited for the end. The living room clock seemed to mock me.
Tick-tock.
Too slow. Each minute was a step toward what I had wished for, but never truly believed would happen. At 9:24 a.m., my phone vibrated. Lemos, he was caught. Clean bust. Didn't resist. He's on his way to the station. I closed my eyes.
Took a deep breath.
And then let the silence come in. I didn't cry. But I didn't smile. Not yet. There was still something unfinished. I took the key to his room. Entered slowly, as if the space could still bite. Opened the backpack thrown beside the bed, the one he had used days before. Inside, more vials. More SUS labels. Some still smelled like the hospital. Everything confirmed. The Operation Lemos led also took down the group's contacts. They went after his partners. Warrants were being executed that same morning. But I still had a mission. In the bottom drawer of the nightstand, there was a blue notebook. Carlos wrote everything down in it. Code names, amounts, locations. Even names of nurses who passed along the meds. It was more than evidence. It was his signature on the crime. I put the notebook in a bag, went to the kitchen, grabbed my cloth tote bag, the one I use for medical documents. Inside, I placed the notebook, and left. I walked to the station. Along the way, each step felt lighter. The weight I'd carried for years evaporating in the morning sun. I arrived. Was greeted by an agent who already knew who I was. Are you Mrs. Lord?
Yes.
I have something that might help close my son's case for good. I handed over the notebook. He wrote everything. Every little thing. Names, dates, amounts. This is gold. With this, there's no way he gets out of it, Mrs. Lord. I nodded. I know. Do you want to see him? I thought about it. For a moment. Not out of doubt, but to savor the choice.
No.
Not yet. I've seen enough. The agent nodded. I sat for a few minutes on the reception bench. A cup of water in my hand, and my mind silent. Lemos showed up shortly after. Greeted me with a short, respectful hug. He didn't understand a thing, he said. When he saw the cops, he froze. And now he's going to answer for drug trafficking, receiving stolen goods, criminal association, and attempted murder, if it's for what he did to me. That one's harder to prove, Lord. I know. But for me, it's enough. Lemos walked me to the car, offered me a ride back. On the way, we stayed silent for long minutes, until he said, You were brave. No, Lemos. I was a mother. A mother who turns in her son? A mother who stops her son from becoming a full monster, and from dragging more people down with him. When we got home, I went in alone. The house was strangely clean. No loud music. No heavy footsteps. No shadow of him. I closed the door. And then for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Not out of relief, but out of justice. From that moment on, my house was mine again. And the ghost of the man who once called me mother no longer haunted me. The house had been silent for days. Not that comforting silence when you're resting. This was different. A heavy silence, as if the walls were watching me. Carlos had left, but his presence was still scattered everywhere. cheap cologne clinging to the clothes in the closet, a chipped mug in the corner of the sink, and the invisible noises, those remained. Noises of memories, of words I wished I could forget. Lemos called every week. Sometimes he came to visit. He said the case was going well, that the people involved were confessing, exchanging information. Carlos, it seemed, was staying quiet. And me? I pretended to be fine. Pretending. My new talent. Until one Wednesday morning, something happened. I was watering the plants on the porch when the mailman called my name. Mrs. Lord. I nodded, wiping my hands on my apron. There's a registered letter for you. I need your signature. Strange. I never get anything but bills.
I signed.
He handed me a thick brown envelope with no return address. I went back inside and shut the door. Sat at the kitchen table. The envelope felt heavy in my hand. I opened it carefully. Inside was a notebook. Not the one with notes about the crimes. That one was with the police. This was another. Red cover, with a faded sticker in the corner. And a loose sheet on the first page, with a note. Mom, if you're reading this, it's because I got caught. But before they erase me from your life for good, I need you to know everything. Not everything was as it seemed. Please hear me out. Carlos. My stomach turned. I opened the notebook. The first pages read like a diary. But I soon realized it wasn't just venting. It was a record
Of something more complex.
Carlos described meetings, names, but also spoke of threats.
Debts.
A man named Bento, who seemed to be the real mastermind behind the scheme. According to Carlos, Bento was a former employee of a large hospital and had connections with security guards, ambulance drivers, even people in the local police department. He said that, at first, he only did transport. He moved medication from one point to another, not knowing where it came from. Then he got in deeper because Bento didn't just threaten him, but me. They said if I bailed, you would suffer. That they knew where you did your shopping. That it would be easy to stage an accident. I got in deep to protect you. Then I got lost. I'm not proud, but I tried. God knows I tried to get out. I closed my eyes. Not because I believed it, but because, for a moment, I wished it were true. I went back to the text. Carlos spoke of remorse. Sleepless nights. But he also admitted he was wrong, that he did sell. That he gave in to the addiction of easy money, of gambling. It was a confession shaded with regret, but without playing the victim. I failed, but Bento won't stop. And now that I've been arrested, he'll try to cover his tracks. He might even try to silence you. Don't trust anyone in uniform, Mom. Not everyone is like Lemos. Hide this notebook. Keep it with someone you truly trust. If something happens to me, he'll come for you. I closed the notebook slowly. My heart beat like a drum in my chest. I stood up, locked the front door, unplugged the landline, shut the windows, sat on the couch with the notebook in my lap, like it was a bomb about to explode. His words echoed in my mind. Don't trust anyone in uniform. But I trusted Lemos.
Did I?
I called him. No answer. I sent a message. Nothing. That had never happened before. Lemos was punctual, like the clock on the wall. Just to be safe, I went to the bedroom and hid the notebook inside the pillowcase of an old cushion. Whether it was true or not, I still didn't know. But I had learned never to underestimate fear. That night, while pretending to watch a soap opera, I saw a strange car parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. It stayed there for almost an hour. Then it left. The next morning, a woman knocked on the gate. Said she was from social services. That she wanted to talk about Carlos. But she had no badge. No uniform. Are you okay, ma'am? She asked with a forced smile. I'm fine, I replied firmly. And my son is in jail. If you want more information, talk to the police. I shut the gate in her face, ran inside, and called Lemos again. He finally picked up. Lord, are you okay? Did you receive a red notebook? What do you mean? I explained everything. The note, the entries, the name Bento, silence on the other end. Lemos. I know that name.
Cold.
Ice cold. Lord, listen to me. Don't leave the house. I'm coming to get you now. What's going on? If what he wrote is true, you're in danger. And maybe I am too. The call dropped. I sat there, the phone still in my hand. My story with Carlos wasn't over. I thought I had won, but I had only opened the door to a much deeper basement. And now, besides being the mother of a criminal, I was the keeper of a secret that could get me killed. Lemos said he was coming. He said he would pick me up, that I was in danger. But that was 2 hours ago. And with every passing minute, the silence in my house felt louder. The wall clock ticked slower. The wood creaked as if it walked on its own. My eyes wouldn't leave the door. I turned the phone over in my hands. No signal. The battery dying. I grabbed the charger, but the outlet nothing. I tested with another device. Nothing. Someone cut the power? I ran to the back window. The street lamp was still on. The neighbors' houses too. Only mine was in the dark. My stomach turned. In my head, the words from the note pounded. Don't trust anyone in uniform. Not everyone is Lemos. I went back to the bedroom, grabbed the pillowcase. The notebook was still there. I hugged it to my chest like a child. I locked myself in the bathroom, got down on the cold tile floor, and thought, I need to get out of here.
Now.
But go where? I called Clara, a trustworthy neighbor. But the call wouldn't go through. I took the old backpack from a closet. Stuffed in the notebook, a jacket, a water bottle, and my wallet. I unlocked the back door. The sky was beginning to darken. Fear had a smell of iron and mold that stuck to the throat. I ran across the backyard, jumped the low fence into Mrs. Celia's yard. She was traveling. I slipped through backyards, trying to remember every shortcut from the childhood games I once showed Carlos. Now I used them to escape his shadow. I reached the avenue 2 streets down. I saw movement. Cars passing, people at the bus stop. That felt safer. I got on a random bus. Sat in the back, not looking anyone in the eye. At every stop, my heart leapt to my throat. At every cop on the street, I shrank. 30 minutes later, I got off in front of the city library. I knew it stayed open late. And that Clara, my neighbor, volunteered there on Wednesdays. I walked in. The woman at the reception smiled. Can I help you? I came to see Clara. Mrs. Clara from the books. Oh, she's in the back, history section. I crossed the library as if floating. My feet didn't touch the ground, or I couldn't feel them anymore. I found Clara organizing books on a low shelf. Lord, are you okay?
No.
I need your help, but no questions right now. Of course. She took me to the staff room, gave me tea, a towel to dry my face. Only then did I tell her everything. My God, Lord. He said powerful people are involved, that they might silence me. Do you have proof? I showed her the notebook. She flipped through it, her eyes widening with every page. This is dynamite. If it's real, Clara. I can feel it. Carlos may have been a bastard, but he wasn't stupid. He wouldn't make this up. She picked up the phone, dialed something, and whispered, I know a journalist.
Trustworthy.
He's investigated people like this before. He'll know what to do. In less than an hour, we were in a discreet cafe downtown. The journalist, Pedro, arrived with a cap and a backpack. Sat next to us like we were relatives. He read the notebook. Listened to everything. Mrs. Lourdes, this is serious. There are names here involved in other investigations. If you're seen with this... I'm already a target, I interrupted. There's no going back. Pedro took me to the newsroom where he worked, an old building hidden among office buildings. There, with 2 journalists and an IT technician, they started scanning, digitizing, cross-referencing data. I sat on a couch, watching. Lourdes, Pedro said, there's something strange here. What? One of the names in the notebook, it's a police chief. And say it. He's Lemos's direct superior. A chill ran down my spine. You think Lemos? I don't know. But if it's true, he's either being played or he's in on it. I didn't want to believe it. But Carlos's voice echoed again. Not everyone is Lemos. And what if not even Lemos was who he said he was? That night, Pedro took me to a discreet hotel. Simple room, hard bed, but locked. Safe. He said he'd keep everything confidential until more information was confirmed. That maybe in a few days it would all be published and the names exposed to the world. But I knew the coming days would be the most dangerous. In the silence of the room, with the lights off, I dozed for a few minutes. I woke up to a sharp sound. A vibrating phone. It wasn't mine. It was the hotel phone. I answered with a trembling hand. Mrs. Lord. It was Lemos. Where are you?
Silence.
Lord, are you there? Why do you want to know? He hesitated. His voice sounded different. No longer careful. It was cold. You have something that belongs to the investigation. I need you to hand it over in person. Before you do something stupid. And what if I already did? Lord, this isn't a game. I know. It's my life. And I'm tired of people playing with it. I hung up, blocked the number, looked out the hotel window. The street was empty, but the world wasn't. I was an old woman, yes, but now I was a real threat. And for the first time, I liked the idea. I never imagined I would live this long. Even less that living this long would mean this, becoming a threat to men in uniform, being chased by mobsters, sleeping in a hidden hotel with documents under my pillow. Me, an old lady who could barely turn on the TV without hitting the wrong button. But there I was. The same woman who raised a son on rice, beans, and dignity, now sleeping in her clothes and shoes, ready to run if needed. I woke up with the sun piercing through the curtains. The phone didn't ring. The silence of the night had been tense, but that morning gave me a breath of peace. I went down for breakfast. Pedro was already waiting, laptop open, headphones on, looking worried. Did you sleep well? I slept like someone waiting for a bomb to drop at any moment. He smiled with his eyes. Lord, what you did yesterday was brave. Very few people would face something like this, especially after everything. I don't have time for cowardice anymore, Pedro.
My son got swallowed up in this.
He may have done horrible things, but he didn't start it alone. And if I can take down at least part of this filth, then it's worth the risk. He turned the laptop toward me. On the screen, scanned documents, spreadsheets, bank records, all connected to the notes in the notebook. It was much bigger than I had imagined. These names, they're cops, doctors, even politicians. Some of them had campaigns funded by this stolen medicine network. And Lemos. Pedro took a deep breath. We found his name in one of the call logs from a boss. But we still don't know if he's involved or if it's a setup. I need to know. I trusted him. We'll find out. But until then, we have to make a choice. What choice? He looked around, lowered his voice. If we publish this now, it exposes everything. But it also puts you at immediate risk. And if we don't, they'll come after you anyway. But then, no one will know why. Silence. I want you to publish it. Pedro raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? I am. If this is the end of my story, let it be with truth, not with fear. He nodded, began organizing the files. Meanwhile, one of the journalists approached. Mrs. Lord, this came for you. They left it at the front desk. It was an envelope.
Small, white,
hand addressed. I opened it carefully. Inside, a note with a single sentence written in shaky handwriting. Even the strongest mothers cry when their sons bleed. No signature. I shivered. Someone knew where I was. I stood up abruptly. Pedro, I need to get out of here. They're closing in. He took the envelope, read it, turned pale. Do you recognize the handwriting?
No.
But the tone is familiar. It's a threat. It's a warning. We left through the back. His car took us to another part of the city, an apartment owned by a retired journalist he trusted. There, Pedro began recording a video. He wanted to document my testimony. If something happened to me, the video would go live. I sat in front of the camera, took a deep breath, and spoke. My name is Lord Pereira. I'm the mother of Carlos Pereira da Silva. He's in prison for involvement in the theft and sale of controlled medication. But this story is not just about him. It's about a system, a web of corruption that begins inside hospitals and ends in the pockets of politicians, police chiefs, and businessmen. I have proof. It's being published as I speak. If something happens to me, know this. It was because I told the truth. But I have no regrets. Pedro stopped recording. He looked at me as if he were seeing another woman. And at that moment, I felt it too. I was another woman. The video went live that afternoon. The reaction was immediate. Headlines exploded online. 72-year-old woman exposes criminal network of stolen medications. Notebook reveals billion-dollar scheme involving hospitals and police. And among the names highlighted, Lemos appeared. Not as a hero, but as a silent enabler. The report said he covered up suspicious activities, ignored reports, let investigations die before they even started. My stomach turned. The doorbell rang. Pedro looked out the window. It's him. Lemos. I went to the door myself. Opened it with the security chains still on. Mrs. Lurd, you know you're in danger? I know. The danger started when I trusted you.
He sighed.
Looked around. I never wanted to hurt you. I was pressured. I tried to help in my own way. Then tell the truth now. Lemos hesitated.
Yes.
I knew. From the beginning. But they have people everywhere. If I spoke out alone, I'd disappear. I stayed quiet. I closed the door in his face. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just took a deep breath. As deep as someone who just survived a war. Hours later, the police arrived. This time it was internal affairs. They took Lemos. And others. That night, the phone rang. Carlos. From prison. Mom, was it you? It was. For me? For me. For you. And for every son and mother who never had a voice. He stayed silent. Do you hate me?
No.
I just hope that now you finally understand the value of the life you threw away. Mom. I hung up. I stared into nothing. On the table, the red notebook. Open. Its last page still blank. I picked up a pen. Wrote. End of a line. But the beginning of the truth. And closed it. That night, I slept with the window open. For the first time, without fear.